I asked my employer over a month ago if my contract is going to be extended, found out today I will be unemployed in 3 weeks. I honestly don't know how to feel right now. After 6 months of unemployment, I finally landed a temporary role at what I thought was a great company. Average pay, great benefits, get to work from home, etc. They told me as long as there is work available, they will keep me on. Well, a couple of weeks ago they posted a listing for the exact same job I'm doing now, but on a permanent contract paying £8,000 more than I currently make. I'd already asked my manager if my contract was going to continue, as work has been light lately, and they told me they didn't know. I applied for this permanent role, had my interview, fairly confident I would get it as it's literally what I already do and they know I'm a good worker. Today I got the call. Not only am I not being offered the role, but my contract is being cancelled at the beginning of October. They had nothing negative to say about me, only that the person they picked has more experience. I'm in shock. They told me they couldn't have managed the last few months without me, then let me keep my job? My finances are still a wreck from being unemployed for so long. I have a master's degree, I have experience, I interview well, I cannot do unemployment again when we're about to hit a recession. I'm tired of being tired. This is a rant and a question, so genuine answers are welcome, but how do you not let capitalism suck out your soul every day? I've just been at my desk almost crying because I'm so tired of working. How? When you only have a few hours to yourself every day that are often spent recovering after being exhausted by work. When you have 2 days in the weekend that are spent doing chores and everything that you couldn't do during the week, so you barely even have time to rest. Manager wanted co-worker to stay because they might get promoted. Long story short, there was an internal job opening / promotion where I work. Several people did apply for it. Time passes, nobody's hired for it, but managers act like it's ongoing. So now fast forward several months later, one of my co-workers is getting another job, so they let the manager know. They're one of the better workers we have and managers like them. The first response they got was, "I thought you wanted to be a job they applied for." They told me that story and I was laughing. Months have passed and they're acting like nobody should move on with their life in the insanely off chance this posting they had was serious. If it was, would it take that many months? To this day nobody has been hired for it. Every manager knows which employees applied for it, and I believe everyone who had applied for it except maybe 1 or 2 people have moved on. Our assumption was that they wanted a certain person to get hired, but they either didn't apply or for sure wasn't better than the applicants, so they wouldn't be able to justify the hire to their bosses, and also, managers all know who applied, so now they know who wasn't happy settling for their current job, which you would think is a good thing since it shows you want to move up within that place, but it's probably been spun into a negative. Any fans of Challenge USA? This job posting felt like how the finale went. If you saw it you'll understand, if you still don't, I can explain it if you want. Why is there so few coverage of the US railroad workers' conflict? For real, I'm not even American, and from the little I've read it seems like it could have such a huge impact, and yet there are barely any article out there on the recent tentative contract. Like, even on here I'm surprised it's not talked about that much. It could have huge impacts, yes, economically as they say, but it's a huge power move and show of strength for the working class. I might be blowing this out of proportion since I can only watch it from Canada and get the little information I manage to find, but I don't know, it kinda seems like a big deal. Anybody has a good and obviously pro-worker source to keep up to date? I might get fired and I honestly don't care. I was hired 5 months ago as an opener for my local Burger King. I make $9.60 an hour. It's kind of a long story, but the GM that hired me was fired in the middle of putting me in the system. I was hired under the impression I'm a manager. I've been told I'm the system, I'm a crew member, but I have all the responsibilities of a manager and everyone treats me like a manager. The new GM is. I could honestly make a lengthy post about her, but when we met I explained to her that at my old job, I was a manager, trained new hires, opened, closed, and that my old job was begging for my return with the promise of 15 an hour. I made it clear that they needed me, I don't need them. I told her about the fact that I was told I'm a manager but the system doesn't say I am. I told her I wanted to be making at least 11 an hour because that's what she was hiring new people at. She told me she'd work on it. I'm an invaluable member of her team and Corp was the one stopping her because they didn't think I had any manager training. That was 4 months ago. She's one of those bosses where you're her best friend of you just nod along with her, and has fired 3 people for disrespecting her. That isn't an assumption, either, that is something she's told me after firing each one. Recently she decided that we're not doing a good job opening/closing the store, so she was going to work those shifts and show us how to do it probably. For the past few weeks I've spent my mornings blowing up her phone with calls. One day, in the span of an hour, I called her 100+ times. I only stopped because my phone died. I've told her several times I will not open by myself, because that would mean opening lobby, setting everything up in the kitchen, prepping for breakfast and lunch, and do all my manager things. She wants me to do it all in a half hour, which is impossible even with a second set of hands. I actually work off the clock to make sure I've got enough time to do everything, which is highly illegal, something she's aware of, but I do it because I care. She's constantly complaining that it's so hard to be here so late and then come in so early. Last night she literally had 4 other people helping close. It doesn't take 5 people 4 hours to close a store, and it was a mess. I've assisted on closes before, as I think it helps build a better relationship between the shifts, and just me and one other person can do it in 2 hours. If it's really so difficult, then pick one and stick with it. You'd think she'd have figured that out by now, since she doesn't normally come in until 2 to 3 anyway, but whatever. This morning, I called her at 5. I called her at 5:30. 5:45 when 6 rolled around I gave her a final call, before sending this message. Call me when you arrive at the store. It is not my responsibility to make sure my boss is awake and at work on time, and I'm not breaking my back putting the store together without you. I've told you before, I'm not doing this without a kitchen. I understand it's hard to close and then open, but you're the one choosing to stay so late and then scheduling yourself so early. I know she's gonna be pissed whenever she actually wakes up, but honestly I'm done giving a shit. I'm just gonna tell her either give me a raise, or find a new opener. I'm tired of giving my all and being responsible for so much shit, when I make less than everyone in this store. Figure it out. Update, so she ended up calling me an hour after I texted her, took 20 minutes to arrive, yelled at me immediately after she walked in. But, big twist. Someone from Corp was here today and I told them everything. From the fact that she's never arrived on time to the fact that someone on staff broke into my apartment, and she knew this when she hired him. She immediately shut up when she saw him. I spent the whole day running FA by myself. I didn't get a break, and actually had a breakdown that Corp got to witness. But Corp guy told me I was amazing and he was gonna sing my praise to the higher UPS, which I've been informed are coming in next week. I guess someone was getting a bunch of emails from the crew complaining about the GM. I wonder why. Manager mad I didn't tell them I was interviewing. I recently applied for, interviewed for, and was offered a promotion. My manager called to tell me that it was bad practice to not tell them I was applying for other jobs. It kept them from being able to plan ahead for distribution of raises. In my old role, I was allowed to stay fully remote, but was not given a salary adjustment for the market I moved to. The new role was remote first and my salary was calculated based on my market. The old manager told me the leadership team was discussing my new salary and that I was lucky I got an increase based on location because that's not supposed to happen when you choose to work remotely. Why would I tell my boss that I'm planning to leave before I have another offer, essentially letting them know they can start looking for my replacement or give the raise I earned to someone else even if I don't leave? Why are my boss, their boss, and their boss's boss talking about my salary and what I should and shouldn't earn? Why would I be limited in the salary offer simply because I'm internal and used to have an in-person role? The external candidate would get a better offer if leadership got their way. My boss won't answer my calls/messages after I came back from vacation. Long story short, I started working for this place almost 3 months ago, but even before my start I explained to both of my new bosses that I already have a 1-month-long vacation scheduled and will not be available to work. They agreed as long as I do my part and get the kitchen up and running. I'm a restaurant manager BTW, train the employees and all that, which I did. I left for vacation, we kept in touch every few days to assess the situation and stuff, and everything was fine. Long story short, I came back and messaged one of them if we should meet up to discuss the current situation and all upcoming plans. I get ignored for few days, I try texting/calling again, and I get a message that he will call me in few days. He doesn't call, I try to reach him again, yet no response. Today I texted him again if he will finally give me a call, which he answers and says he will in the afternoon, and again of course he doesn't call/text me. I text him once again asking what's the problem, and get ignored. Anyone have any advice what to do in this situation? Can I even do anything at all? I live in Europe BTW, if that means anything.